This is the 12th video working with a pool table model in Blender, and in the last video we left off creating this image in the GIMP to map to our balls. And now we'll set up the image for the first ball, and we'll select the appropriate layers to create that image. We can turn off the crosshair layer or not, it doesn't really matter. We'll select the solid yellow layer, the circle layer, and then the number 1 layer. The number 1 being a solid ball. Then we can come into the files and save as. Select a directory. And give a name, which I'll just call it ball1.bmp. BMP being the bitmap file association, or file extension I should say. And I'll save that. And the GIMP will give me a dialog. It says your image should be exported before it can be saved as a bitmap, because the bitmap can't handle layers. So we'll just leave it at merge visible layers and export, then save. Then we can change our layers around. Turn off this yellow filled layer and turn on the yellow strip layer and the white layer. Turn off the number 1 and turn on the number 9. Now we have the number 9 ball, which is a stripe ball. So we'll save that. Save as. Change the file name to ball9.bitmap and save. Again, I'll get the export file dialog and choose the same option and export it. Now we can look at changing our color scheme and changing our text as well. And I was thinking that maybe I don't need a layer for my text to sit in, and I'm going to try that out. So I'm going to delete the 2 text layers because we don't need the 1 and the 9 anymore anyways. Then in the yellow layer, I'll first off select none. Go over to the color select tool, we'll try that out. I'll need to set up a color, and I'll need a blue. And we won't want one that's too dark or too light. So I'm going to look for a blue color here. And that looks about right. So I'm going to go with that as being my blue color. So I'll set up my blue, use the color picker. It will select the whole yellow region. And I'll fill that region with the foreground color. And if all's gone well, we won't have any funny edges or anything. So we'll select none and see. And it looks good to me. So then I'll turn that layer off, turn on the completely yellow layer and select all. And again, fill that with the blue color. So we'll fill that with that. And I'll need to undo that. So that didn't work out. I didn't take the caution to ensure I was working in the proper layer, so I need to select this layer as well. Kind of thought that would happen when I changed the visibility of the layer, but I guess not. So I'll fill that one in, and again just turn off its color, and again use the white layer. Now I'll try adding my text without any layers and see what happens. All of the text options will remain the same here, so I can just type in my number 2. And I'll have to undo that. Because I never set a color, I need to set my color up to white. So I'll undo that text and try it again. So do a number 2, center that, perhaps reduce the opacity of this layer a bit so I can see my crosshairs to center. And I think that looks okay. So I'll turn off the visibility of that layer, and so I'll try to add another text layer. Oh, and that seems to work okay. Except this layer needs to be 10, because we're working on the 10 ball, so I'll center that number onto the image and call that good. So again, I'll set up with my colors, the solid layer, the circle layer, and the number 2. I'll turn off the number 10 and save that as my number 2 ball. So I'll save that as 2, export, and save. Turn off the number 2, turn on the number 10, turn off the solid layer, and turn on the stripe layer, as well as turn on the white layer for the background. And save that. So we'll save as ball 10. Save, export, and save. So, we have ball 1, 2, 9, and 10. And I'm going to just make my way through the different colored balls and save those files until I have the cue ball left. And I don't know if I'm going to map a cue ball image or not. There could be some value in that, in setting up a cue ball image, and perhaps could give it a little more of an authentic look by adding some blue marks. It's really common for a pool table to have some scuffs on it, on the ball, the white ball, from being hit with a chalk-covered cue. So that's something I was considering, but I'm not really sure if I'm going to go that far or not. And I'll just have to play that by ear. So in the next video I'll return and I'll have all my images for the balls created, and we'll look at how to map those onto the balls on our pool table. So that'll be in the next video, and until then, happy modeling.